We have on the agenda part-time police budget salaries, and that's ordinance 2023-1.
So as you guys know, we definitely have some issues with coverage. And we're having a very difficult time hiring part-time officers, keeping part-time officers, and getting those officers to work. Right now, our hourly rate is set at $25 an hour. So if we look at that, these guys are coming in, working outside of their 40 hours that they work someplace else, and they're working for less money than they make at their regular rate. So they're taking a pay cut to come here and work more hours. The local FOP rate is set at $40 an hour. You can go to Notre Dame and work a football game for $50. You can work, there's probably several, I think Blue Chip is paying over $40 an hour for security. So I'm not going to ask, at this time, I'm not going to ask for an increase in dollar amount because the budget's already set. I'm going to ask that we increase the part-time pay to $40 an hour to meet the FOP rate, and I will deal with the money that I have.
Okay.
But I will say,
So we'll still use that overtime money, but it will be 40 instead of 25.
but I will say on that, I looked over your salary budget today, what was budgeted for the year, and you know, obviously, because we've not been paying a couple of paydays without paying for officers, you would have a little more room
Okay.
than the 5,000 to use if you needed it, because of what we've not been paying those empty vacant positions, you're saying?
Right.
So you do have a little bit more than 5,000 in there if you needed it, and just put that out there.
Along with that, the sheriff's department, LaPorte City, Michigan City, everybody surrounding us is paying time and a half for their officers to work overtime. I know that the town has not been able to support that in the past because obviously if the police department does it, then the street department should need to be able to do it, and utilities should also need to be able to do that. I would like to propose that we offer time and a half for our own officers. It would help tremendously. It would actually save me money because their time and a half rate would be less than the 40 an hour. Corey is an absolute workhorse, so
Yeah.
he would be here covering shifts as many as he could. And I don't know if you can speak on the other departments.
I have, actually, this started with Nathan approaching me about utilities being able to get time and a half because
Like I get rid of comp time?
the comp time, it just keeps, it's like a vicious circle. It keeps
Yeah.
compiling and getting the thing. And I did talk about it, but much like we talked to the guys and they would prefer to have time. So anyway.
We can,
Well, they could have an
option. They can have an option, I guess.
However, so the utilities wouldn't be accounted because that is a non-appropriated, those are
Right.
not budgeted. The police and MVH is a different story because we already have that budget set. However, it's not like I couldn't utilize MVH restricted as long as they're doing work that's allowed to be paid from the MVH restricted fund. And as long as the salary, what we budgeted for salaries in the police budget didn't exceed what we budgeted, I don't see that being an issue. However, you have to have a salary ordinance for that. I have no idea on that, so I have to research and get a copy of a salary ordinance that pays overtime because I've never dealt with that. You see what I mean? We have to have that somehow built into that ordinance, and I'm not sure on that. I have no idea. So I could research that.
and I'd like to see if we could set up, if somebody'd rather have time off.
Yeah, you could do the option.
Yeah, we used to have the option.
We had the option before.
We can utilize that. It's not gonna not work. Everything's doable, and especially now that MVH has that restricted money that kind of just sits there sometimes. As long as we make sure we're utilizing that how we're supposed to, all the departments could benefit. But I have to find an ordinance that is written for overtime, because I don't have I don't know.
So we'll look into that.
I will email my colleagues and get some examples,
Okay,
if that's okay.
Yep.
Okay.
it's fine with me. I think it'd be,
But the salary ordinance today is just for the $40.
right. Okay, ordinance 2023-1, an ordinance of the town of Westville, LaPorte County, amending ordinance 2022-7, entitled Salary Ordinance for year 2023. This is an amendment, and like she said, the only difference in the numbers is the part-time.
And Mike, I also want to put out there, department heads that oversee 2 or more employees are exempt, so they would not get that. Lovett and Barry would not get overtime,
Okay,
just so.
just the rank and file, so to speak.
Yes,
Just the hourly.
because of job.
Okay, I will make a motion that we approve ordinance 2023-1 on the first reading.
Second.
Motion made by Albert, seconded by Mr. Burnett to approve ordinance 2023-1 on the first reading. Is there any discussion? Mr. Burnett?
Yes.
Mrs. Paforski?
Yes.
Mr. Pachinski?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes.
Albert votes yes, passes 5-0. Now I will make a motion that we suspend the rules and adopt ordinance 2023-1.
Second.
Motion made by Albert, seconded by Mr. Burnett to suspend the rules and adopt ordinance 2023-1. Is there any discussion? Mr. Burnett?
Yes.
Mrs. Paforski?
Yes.
Mr. Pachinski?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes.
Albert votes yes, passes 5-0. Okay, we got that. Canine officer.
So, I'll go through this the best I can. I called Miklos in because I wanted to understand what was entailed with the agreement between Nate and him. So, there were some promises made that haven't been followed through with. Nate was supposed to set up some training for Miklos so that he could work with other canines in this area and be up to speed with how they operate. That has not happened. Nate did call the insurance, but there's some misunderstanding between Nate and Miklos as far as like replacement of the dog if something were to happen. So we have a $15,000 dog that, let's say, gets killed in the line of duty. Who's replacing that dog? It's not covered by our insurance. Miklos was under the assumption that it would fall under our insurance, and it does not. On that note, we have a $15,000 dog that's trained to bite people. And I don't know, Nate did not communicate to you guys that evening when he approved this program. He was telling you about the drug detection and that kind of thing. You guys hired a bite dog. He bites people. It's a Belgian. That dog will rip your arm off if that's what you tell him to do. He can detect drugs.
Yeah, that's what we're understanding.
But he can detect drugs, but he can also rip you to pieces if he's.
But it's 2
losing
different
somebody.
commands, right? I mean, it's.
He's a very good dog, and I don't want to take anything away from Miklos. I've known that kid since he was 10 years old. He's a fantastic human being. His family is incredible. I have nothing but good things to say about him. I want you guys to be aware of what you hired a working dog, not just a drug sniffing dog. So he's on command. He can be sent after somebody to bite. You hired a bite dog.
So potential liability.
Yes, which is covered by our insurance.
Which is, I'm sorry?
It is.
Okay.
Also, you guys should understand that Miklos is operating on our authority. We are his only police employer. Even though he's part-time, he is under our insurance 24/7. He's got his gun with him, he's got his badge with him. He's a full-fledged police officer, part-time. If Miklos goes somewhere with that dog and uses that dog off duty for whatever reason, we are the department that is responsible for his actions. And I'm not saying that Miklos would ever do anything wrong. Again, he's an incredible human being. That is on us.
Even off duty?
Yes. 24/7, that dog is our dog. We are the only police employer. It doesn't fall under his personal insurance. It's us because we're the law enforcement agency that's giving him the power to use that dog as a weapon, as a tool. It's our baby. And I checked this through Debbie Lake that first week I came in.
Why would they call him and not the county?
I'm saying if Miklos was out, if Miklos is driving down the road on a Sunday afternoon, he's got his ball cap on and his flannel shirt, he's doing nothing, but he's got his gun because he can carry his gun, he's got his police ID because he can, and he's got his dog in the car because he takes him everywhere.
He's on duty.
He's on,
And he
yeah.
sees something, and he sets that dog loose, he's under our insurance.
Our liability.
Yes. Not that he's gonna get called by any agency, just if he happens to come across something. That all taken into context, we have a vehicle that you're putting a dog in. You're putting a $15,000 police dog in the back of a vehicle that is not designed or equipped to carry a canine. It does not have a heat alert, it does not have any fans, doesn't have any door poppers, it doesn't have a cage, it doesn't have bars on the windows, and it's not marked canine.
I have a quick question.
Shoot.
Okay, so when this K-9 program started, Market on Main always does a give back, and the car show participated in that, and they gave, like, I think they raised 470,
Yeah.
don't quote me, I don't know. Is that still like in a fund, is that
I
there?
think he used that to purchase, dog stuff.
Oh, okay.
Maybe, I have to pull the thing, but he purchased something for that dog.
Okay,
That's
okay.
Something else.
There is,
He did.
I'm
I
not
just want to make
against,
sure that there was
Yes,
that.
absolutely.
I don't want you guys to get me, I'm absolutely not against the canine program. I love canines. We could do a lot with that dog if we got creative. We have the toll road right there, we could do some interdiction on 421. We might get some seizures, we might get some money that we can keep. Anything could happen. There's nothing better than a canine. I love them. My problem is that we have a 2017 Explorer that is not set up to carry it. I do not want to put a dog that the replacement value is $15,000 in the back of a squad car that's not equipped for a canine. Not to mention, it doesn't have any bars on the windows to keep people out. So what are we gonna do with people walking up to the car, looking in it, checking out the dog, and the dog's gonna be going crazy? And then what happens if we get something bit because the car is not equipped the way that it should be? So I got prices, and you're looking at $7,000, $8,000 that we're gonna put into a 2017 Ford Explorer for a part-time officer canine.
Is that what's happening? Are we driving around with the dog?
Hey, we go back.
He's not using the dog until June. Mick Bush is just kind of working, he hasn't brought the dog in yet. The dog doesn't complete his certifications until June.
Have we done this purchase and everything, all this went through already?
You guys approved the program.
Yeah, we
The only
approved the
purchase
program.
that's been made is the $400-something.
$400, but.
The dog belongs to Mick Bush. It's all on him.
Right.
We were told there'd be no cost to us.
Yeah, I
Other
don't know
than
if you
donation.
If you want to do something, completely half-ass, then you don't have to spend any money. But you're putting everybody at risk.
You
You're
put a
putting
dog
Mick
in
Bush
a
at risk,
non-equipped car.
you're putting Mick Bush at risk, you're putting the dog at risk, and you're putting the community at risk because you're not equipped.
Not to mention.
So my thing to you is, if you guys want to keep the canine program, I would ask that we do it the right way. If you don't want to spend the money on the car, I completely understand it. I don't think we need a canine. I think it's a terrible idea if we're not going to equip the vehicle the way that it should be.
Do we have the two Dodges, the
Yeah.
Durangos?
Yeah.
Durangos, that we're gonna have to,
That's on the list. We got more coming.
Yeah.
Can we table this maybe until we get through all your expenditures that you're gonna do?
I can move on if you guys want to.
yeah, because I mean, you told me we need some more stuff, and I don't know.
So the evidence room, obviously you guys in the special meeting, the executive session, we discussed that. Our evidence camera is broken. Nobody knows when it was broke. It's broke. To replace the evidence camera, I can buy the best on the market for $19.99, or I can buy one that will work fine for $9.99.
Was it you just take a digital picture when you bring something in?
Well,
What is it
no,
called?
this is a crime scene camera. For instance, when we had the suicide on North Street, when Devin killed herself in the basement. So the body fell in a very strange way. It was a female. She shot herself in the head, which was unusual. Nothing really kind of made sense. The way she fell, her leg fell underneath a stool, and the stool was sit perfectly. And we all sat there trying to figure out how in the heck did her leg get underneath the stool, and the stool's not knocked over. So with the camera that we had at the time, we were able to zoom in on the leg of the stool, and we could clearly see cobwebs that you couldn't see with your eye, attached from the leg of the stool and the wall that had not been broken. So we were able to see that however it happened, she shot herself in the head, the lights went out, she went limp, and her leg went under the stool, and miraculously, the stool didn't move. So we need a camera that can do that. You have to have a macro adjustment that goes, zooms in, however many times it zooms in, and can catch a cobweb that you can't see with your naked eye to show that, okay, we're good. That's the camera that the software went bad on.
So that we have the camera, but the software's bad, or is it just, you shit clean the whole thing? I don't,
It's the camera, we've had the camera since I was hired in 2012.
okay, so it's 10,
I mean, if we update the software, or I mean,
Okay.
I don't see any reason. I think the $1,000 camera would do, it has the adjustments that we need. We can spend double and go, but I don't know if we're gonna gain anything.
Those things get obsolete so quickly
They
that, I mean, it's not worth spending that much money.
It's at that $1,000 limit that I need to get permission to buy. And along with that, there is a forensic light kit that we need for crime scene photography that is basically $1,700.
and that picks up footprints or anything, right?
Yeah,
Blood
it
spatter.
has different lighting, so you can hit a footprint with a different light, like in snow, and show the tread of shoe or that type of thing.
Did we have one of those there already?
I don't know. No, this is new. This is something Corey has been doing inventory on since he started. I keep bringing, so you guys know, Corey at the prison did 20 years of handling evidence. So he understands that he does a good job. This is what he says he needs that trust on. For these two items, you're looking at basically $2,700. And I think it's probably, it's a good investment in something that we need.
Is there any way we could,
Oh, go ahead.
like, is there any way we could sell what we already have? Is there like,
Sell?
yeah, like if you were to replace, is there any kind of, you see
I
what I'm
don't
saying?
know. I don't know.
I don't know if there's any,
So there.
I don't know if there's a market for it or not.
I mean,
Is there any way to?
there's a store in South Bend that, a camera store that specializes in
Yeah.
cameras. They may give me some money for it, thinking they can update the
I just didn't know
software.
if there's
Sell
any,
it.
yeah.
I mean, I've traded
It's
in
a lot of
weapons
sense.
before, but I haven't done anything with this.
Radios, I think we traded in sometimes and stuff.
I'd rather spend the money for the cameras than put $8,000 in a car for a K9.
Well, at the end of this, I would like to get a tally, so, because I have to tell you, I don't know where it's
So the
going
first-
from.
We're starting to, 2,700 is for evidence,
Okay?
That's the camera and the
the
filters.
camera and the light kit. The other stuff Corey mentioned is smaller things like $30 a year, $40. It's stuff that I can buy without permission.
Okay.
When Nate left, he did not turn in all of his master keys, so I'm missing a master key. Because I'm missing a master key, I have to rekey the whole department. The price for rekeying the entire department and giving us new keys is $753.
Oh, that's not,
That's-
I went,
That's not
ooh.
bad.
I went ooh because thought it was gonna be in the thousands, because those are best locks.
Yeah.
So 750 isn't bad.
So that was the next thing, computers. And I want to be fair and say that it's not somebody's fault that something gets old. So I'm not trying to blame Nate or Joe or anybody for things getting old. My problem is that we have everything old right now. So we have computers that haven't worked the right way for several months and they're still not fixed. And then another computer doesn't work and it's still not fixed. We have a $2,000 laptop that has a battery that nobody decided to replace. That's that lack of leadership, that lack of responsibility that I'm dealing with right now that I'm bringing to you guys. So we have computer issues, and we have to replace some computers. We have to update some software. I have to buy some other stuff for a squad car. And as it sits right now, I'm looking at basically $5,800. And that includes a printer and scanner that was never bought for a squad car because apparently they were never going to do any police work in it. And that's getting all of our things up to date.
Can we get any credit for the old stuff?
It's junk.
The laptop, Darren, you just put a new battery? Is
I
that
think
what
so,
you-
he's looking at it now, he
Okay.
came today to pick some stuff up and he's looking at it.
Okay.
But, and I had discussed it with Joe earlier, and it's a mentality that I don't agree with, because I said, Joe, what I'm trying to get across to you is that you have been here with Nate. And as I told you, because I had a training with Joe, and I told him, I said, sometimes you're gonna have to get after Nate, you're gonna have to stand up to him. And when I mentioned the laptop and the battery, and Joe's response was, well, we don't need it. It's a $2,000 laptop, that's taxpayer money sitting there, let's put it to some use. Don't think you're not gonna need it. I don't agree with that mentality, if you're gonna have equipment, the equipment is up and running. Anyway, so I think along with the computer upgrade, we don't have firewall protection. The Fortinet device that we have is not operating as it should. Brainstorm gave us a contract for the best firewall protection they have, which is something that we discussed several years ago when LaPorte County got hit with the ransomware. I don't remember what they had to pay, was it $100,000?
Yeah, their insurance paid a bunch of it.
It's several $100,000, I think.
No kidding.
Yeah, they had their computer system held, how many, it was a week?
Yeah. Wow.
Do you remember that? You may not have been in the area, yeah. Somebody hacked in and held it hostage.
Yeah, that's what they do. They
Are
hack
we
into your
doing,
system if you want it back.
Well, the split. for the-
I remember where that was going on.
You gotta pay.
3 years ago?
Yeah,
That's-
because I remember being like, why are we investing in so much in the
It's
software?
big.
And then it was like, oh, this is why we're,
It's
Even, split evenly.
It's only gonna get more.
Oh, yeah.
You need to tell them.
two-step verification on everything you own.
So 445 on mine.
Did you say Colt 45?
It's a gun, it's not a drink.
Colt 45.
I got so excited. That is my drink of choice.
Colt 45?
I didn't know
Yeah.
the fire.
It's a malt group.
Yeah, I love it. Oh,
I didn't know
God.
they still made that stuff.
Oh, they do. Oh, it's a 40. It's
Okay.
great.
It's a malt liquor, I think, isn't it?
So I'm gonna go off of what he just said about brainstorm. Mark Swanson sent me the email, the proposal. He said, we're working on a proposal for the police department to handle the following items. Hardware firewall for network security, perimeter system security, managed AV on all workstations, managed web protection on all workstations, server backup, which is currently in place, and I'll explain that in a minute, proactive system updates, maintenance third-party updates, OS updates, vulnerability scanning and remediation, proof point licensing, which is the email fee I get at Microsoft every month, remote help desk, preferred scheduling rates, 365 additional hardening, and best practice security. He said there's lots of ways to say implementing best practices for system network security and becoming a proactive resource to resolve issues. Since the town and police share an internet connection and a firewall, I believe there are some cost savings that we can implement to address both agencies. Before I go through the quoting process, here are the rough numbers. So network security and maintenance only for the police is $710 per month. Network security and maintenance only for the town is $581 per month. Total would be $1290 a month if handled separately. However, by combining both entities under a single firewall, pooling off-site storage resources and backing up both servers off-site and general consolidation of servicing resources to maintain all units in both entities, we can bring that total down to $890 a month, which would handle all of the above items for both the whole building. So 50-50 split, the police 445, my budget 445, which would get split in threes for me. Okay. Or split 70-30 since the police have more units, but it's probably just an easier thing just to split this in half. Okay. So keep in mind, these include items we are already paying for. So right now, I pay Brainstorm $186 a month for the police. That is for the server backup every month. I'm paying that now. I also pay $65 to Microsoft monthly for our email security. So those two numbers, what is that, 265 $250 something. I'm already paying per month.
And you're eliminating it by going to this.
Right, so
It's
this
included.
package includes that. So, yeah, it's expensive, but he did say, eliminating police store maintenance, okay. He said, implementing security to both offices, I think, should be a priority, along with getting the town server backed up off-site.
That's a good idea, too.
So, as Darren's referenced,
Makes
you
sense.
get, you have.
It's a 30%
something
savings.
happen
So, yeah, roughly it's costing us about $500, $540 more than we've been paying, because we're paying $250 already, they give us $890 as a quote.
Yeah, so $445 a month, what is that per year? Five, I don't know.
4,000, worth 4,500.
So that would be his cost, and my cost would be the same, but I would split mine into threes because it's usually typically split between water, sewage, general. So that's what this is.
Cool, thank you.
Okay.
I mean, it's a huge expense, so just to put that out there.
But if you really think about the monthly expense is not, it appears to be $500 more to do both and all the other backup and all the other
Yeah.
things the way it should be done.
$53.40 a year for Darren, $53.40 a year for.
Just a question, because I don't know. Does our insurance carrier, like, if your house, if you have fire extinguishers, you just
Cybersecurity
break?
insurance?
Yeah, but does that affect our rates if we are doing something, if we're proactive?
I can ask Debbie, I can talk about cybersecurity insurance.
Kind of like defensive driving.
Yeah,
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 that's right.
like have fire extinguishers in your kitchen or whatever.
I can ask. I mean, Darren has it in his budget now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a big chunk that you do. I can swing it out of mine, especially because I split mine 3 ways. I mean, is it a security thing that we should do? Probably.
I think we'd be stupid not to.
We don't want to be in like Laporte's shoes,
No, right.
you know?
So if this is a completely separate topic than what he's going over, because this is already going to be paid for out of our current budget. So this could get voted on if you were so inclined by itself to approve this contract with Brainstorm. So totally,
It's got to be done anyway.
Brainstorm was what a month, Lori?
yeah,
$890.
90, yeah, 90 times 12. 530. A lot.
So,
To be split 50.
okay, well, I'll make a motion, we enter into the agreement Brainstorm for $890 a month to be split by police, general, and the 2 utilities.
Second.
Motion made by Albert, seconded by Mr. Burnett. Any discussion? Mr. Burnett?
Yes.
Mrs. Paforski? Mr. Bushinsky?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes.
Albert votes yes, passes 5-0. Okay, we got that.
Next up is Durango's.
Oh, that's the trucks.
Do we want to take care of the cameras?
Do you need to vote on that or just give me permission?
Are the cameras you paying out of your regular budget, Aaron?
I'm not, there's no way I'll have the money anyway.
So the stuff that he doesn't, maybe he cannot afford this year, I have a proposal on that once he gets done, so we can have a number, and I have a thought on that.
Okay, so we'll hold off on the camera and the lights? Or the,
The cameras, the lights, the security.
Evidence.
Ray in the whole department and computers.
So the Durangos, obviously you guys know we got the 2 new Durangos. So they were set up, but only kind of sort of set up. The Durango that Nate was driving, there was no radar put in it, no printer, no scanner. So not that the only traffic violation you can write is speeding, but obviously it does limit what you can do. Without a printer and a scanner, you can't even issue a warning or a citation for an actual traffic stop because we operate off of e-ticket. So obviously the intention was that vehicle was never going to be used for police work. In order to outfit that with
Surprise.
Okay, so the radar is $3,071. Neither of the vehicles has a trunk vault. So in the back, we have the cargo area in the back of the Durango. We have lots of room for storage. But, so, like if I went out there to look at Durangos and had Corey open his up and there's no trunk vault. So Corey has every piece of police gear that you carry, that you need access to, shoved in the back of his squad car. I mean, it looks like something exploded back there. So he has no access to stuff. He's got to dig through everything to find something. It's just a very poor way of doing things. In order to outfit both of the Durangos with a trunk vault, because neither of them has one, it's $5,837.
Are they on sale?
$5,000
$5,837. The one thing that I do not have a number on yet from Bartronics is Nate did not put any kind of prisoner transport barrier, so there's no cages. Obviously, I'm not necessarily going to put one in mine. I would be the one that would make the least amount of arrests here. So I don't necessarily think I need to spend money on mine for, I can transport a prisoner in the front seat if I need to. But Corey being on midnights is more apt to arrest somebody than I am on day shift. I don't have a price yet on
How many cages do you think we need for 2 cars?
I'm just going to do Corey's, just one for Corey's. I don't have a price yet, so I'm waiting on a price for that. It's not going to be cheap. It'll be over $2,000. It's not a good way to do business. I'd rather know that my guys are transporting people safely. And it's not just that it's even safe for the officer, it's also safe for the person that you're transporting. A lot of what we do is to prevent somebody from harming themselves, and you put them in a space where their movement is limited. You're reducing the likelihood that they're going to hurt themselves. So I don't think that there's an option for that. I just don't. I think you have to have it. Axon. So you guys, we approved the contract with Axon, and I can't knock them. They're the premier body cam in law enforcement. There is no body camera better than them. My problem is that Nate came to you guys, he explained to you that the cameras we had were lacking, he didn't want them, they weren't doing the job, they didn't function. So then he entered into a contract with Axon, and he bought cameras to cover his 5 full-time guys. That's all fine and good, but he kept a camera from WatchGuard to give to the part-time guys. So now I'm running 2 systems. Not to mention next year, hopefully if things go right, I'll come to you guys and we can add 1 officer, which means I'm going to be a camera short. And then instead of buying a docking station, he bought single chargers. So we have 2 chargers sitting on the counter that you have to switch a network cord back and forth to charge them and download video, instead of buying an actual docking station that you can mount on a wall, put the camera in there, and you're done. So I would like to, and I called Axon, but they have not given me a price yet. I would like to add 2 cameras and buy a multi-port charger that I can mount on the wall, put a network cable in, and know that it works.
And then get rid of the
And
old.
get rid of the one that Nate came to you and told you was the worst thing that ever hit the market.
But we still kept them.
But we still kept it.
Is there any grants out there for any of this stuff?
He got a grant to start this one.
For this, didn't he?
Yeah. Keep in mind though, that's only good for, I think it's 4 or 5 years.
It's 5, and the grant was for like 3,000 of that $25,000.
So, yeah, he got a grant from Unity Fund for $3,000. The other money came from you guys. Once that 4 years is up, we're taking on at least $4,000 a year. Period. There's no way around. Nate told you guys there's no way to determine how much we're gonna pay. You're gonna pay at least $4,000 a year in cloud storage. I promise.
For Axon?
Do you have an idea of the cost of 2 Axon cameras and multi-port?
I got on their website, they don't list their prices, and I called, the sales rep called me back, I told her what I needed, and she hasn't gotten back, and she said she'd email it to me. It won't be, it's not gonna work. I mean, what I'm asking as far as the expansion, I mean, it's definitely gonna be salty, and I have no way to guess how much it is. They don't list their prices online, I've never bought one. So I was trying to get everything together for today, and that's one that just didn't get back with me.
I'd be curious about all the different storage options.
Restricted
Like,
ones?
is it just cloud? Can we, I mean, are we allowed to download and host on our own server? Like, can we, okay, that's why I did, yeah, okay.
What they do is, so Axon tells you, and obviously I can't knock them, 90% of the police departments use them, they're
Yeah.
remarkable cameras.
Right.
Um,
You got the money.
So their gig is, we're going to give you these cameras, they're yours for free cameras, but you're gonna pay us this many thousands of dollars a year for storage. There's no other option.
Like buying a Milwaukee electric drill.
There's absolutely no other option.
They're gonna screw you in the batteries.
What we had done, what I had set up, and the reason I had attended that meeting, was what happened with Vista WatchGuard is, Vista WatchGuard sold. They sold to Motorola. In the process of Vista WatchGuard selling and moving to Motorola, everything went haywire. Their salespeople changed, employees changed, the website went down, you couldn't get any service, it was absolutely horrible. It was terrible. Then Motorola took over, they got up to speed, and now you see small agencies like Walkerton and North Judson and North Liberty, they've all gone to WatchGuard Motorola, because now they're back up and running, and they can store their own video, because the cameras cost $500 or $600, they're expandable, they operate on Wi-Fi, you can buy switches for your weapons and for your lights, so you turn your lights, it goes on. If you stand next to somebody, it turns on, somebody else's camera, it turns on along with their camera. Is it the same quality as Axon? Absolutely not, but you're not gonna pay $4,000 a year either, or 5 or 6 or 10. So we're in it now, this is what we have, just whoever, you guys may not be here in 4 years, but it's gonna be $4,000 a year. Roughly,
Just to maintain these cameras,
Just
just
to
have their
store-
contract.
just to store video.
Because, yeah, store video.
And I don't feel as though that was communicated to you guys so that you understood what you were
Purchasing,
purchasing.
Yeah.
Um,
it's all about the contract.
Yeah,
There were other options out there that,
there are other cameras, none of them are as good as Axon. Axon is absolutely the best, I'll say that 100 times, they're the best on the market.
Right.
Uh,
but that's why they can command that
Yeah.
high price for.
And so the condition of the department itself, if you guys want to, you can take a peek at the sink under here, and that will give you an idea of kind of what's going on. We have a sink that we probably are gonna have to replace, and possibly a cabinet. We have a bathroom floor that's coming up. When I checked the furnace, I actually had to open the furnace and actually dig into the furnace to pull the furnace filter out, because it was so plugged, it actually sucked up into the furnace. So I'm sure that was fantastic for our utility bills. And those are the kinds of things that I'm running into, the lack of responsibility, the lack of leadership, and the lack of maintenance that has been done on things. Nate had come to you guys, and he was complaining about, he sort of demanded that front door stay locked. I don't want the front door locked, the front door is going to be open when I'm here. With that, what I'm going to do is have Jeff Cunningham come in. I'm going to meet him here Saturday at 9:30, and I'm going to get a price from Jeff to put safety glass in that front window and replace those sliding windows. And then he's going to give me a price on fixing the sink and the cabinet and the bathroom floor. And then I'll come to you guys with that price.
Good.
Who's Jeff Cunningham, sorry?
He helped with this whole remodel.
Okay.
He's a local guy.
He lives in Owens.
He's fantastic.
You used the name, I feel.
Is he? Is he?
Very affordable.
Did you really?
Super affordable.
Oh, wow.
Give me those.
He's kind of, I mean, if you want to do something and get a good job and be able to afford it, that's the kind
Oh my gosh, Jeff Cunningham, does he work with,
He's done a lot of work for.
yeah, okay, all right, yeah. I'm like, I know the name.
He works a lot.
Got it, yeah, no, good work, yeah.
I sent, so it's here. I sent Nate a copy of a proposal from Pace Scheduler. This is a program that we use at Notre Dame for scheduling. It is an incredible program. So I can go into this program and put the entire year's schedule in. Like I said, we'll go to the Pittman schedule. So I can plug in everybody's days for the whole year. They can download an app on their phone, open the app, and they can see what everybody's working on every day, every single shift. You can use the app to call off sick. You can put vacation days in. You can do all kinds of things in this app. And then what happens is, so like tonight, Corey ended up being sick tonight. Corey could go into this app, put in sick time, and then that sends an alert to everybody else that works. So they get an alert on their phone, shift is available, these hours, shift shortage, whatever. A guy can claim the shift and he can come in and work. Since our schedule is so fluid and constantly changing, I think this would be a fantastic tool. I think it would help us with coverage. It would help us with people knowing what's going on instead of trying to refer to a paper schedule. It's affordable. It's very user friendly. Man, Mike, that was really unprofessional.
I told you, shut up.
It's
He was giving you a hint.
It's $1,600 a year, but it's a fantastic program.
Can it be hacked? Is that something?
We haven't had no issues at Notre Dame.
Yeah.
None. The alerts get sent to you. You get a text message on your phone and you get an email every time a shift comes up.
It's good.
Is there, can we run some kind of pilot, some kind of beta
They-
with the? could we-
They will come in and do a demonstration if you want to see a demonstration before you commit.
I'd just be curious, like, I mean, is there a learning curve as
No.
far as, I mean, adoption? Would it be relatively adopted? I mean, can they adopt it quick, like
Yeah.
the team?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because anytime you drive new technology into
Yeah,
that
I'm an
kind of
idiot,
environment. so-
Basically, I'm basically just above like intelligence of maybe like a sloth. And I can use it with no issues. I have it on my phone if you want to play with it some.
Now, the sloth is lazy. I don't know if he's not that smart.
And I take your word
Yeah,
for it, I gotta
right.
be honest. I was just more curious if, like, I don't know how sophisticated it is. It sounds like it's pretty robust.
You're
but-
not lazy, so I'll say that.
We just went to our payroll.
Yeah.
They just went to it.
Okay.
And we can,
To this schedule?
to show our schedule, like I'm on Monday through Friday, and it'll show me that I'm scheduled to work those days. And then like we put 7.5 hours worked. Or like if I put in, took 4 hours sick time, I have a doctor's appointment in February. And I put that in there, and it determines if I have time,
Yeah.
and then it will do it. The only snafu they had in it was supposed to eliminate paperwork. So we didn't fill out a leave slip, give the boss. So theoretically, you go online, say, okay, I want 4 hours off. Well, it would approve it instantly, and the boss never got any notification. One day when they got it, it was on a Friday, and the whole plumbing shop had taken a vacation day because it approved it on there. So it was a snafu, but you can look, I can say, okay, 1 year from today, how many hours of sick time will I have accrued and vacation? It keeps track of all that. So, and that's kind of like that. It's probably a better system than what we have.
They will do a demonstration.
I think it'd be kind of cool. At least I'd like this.
I can set it up, absolutely.
It'd be awesome.
Do you want to hold off on this and see the demonstration?
How much was it per year, I'm sorry?
1,600.
And that just come out of your regular operating?
Right, that is gonna have to come out of
Your 3 months.
I think it's a really good investment. for them.
I think they said it would take about 4 weeks to implement, so, I mean, if you wanna wait and look at it, I can have them set up a demo and we can set
But even
it
if
up.
they have like some like online, I mean, I don't mind.
Tutorials.
Too. Yeah. If they've
I can
got
set
like
it
a
up.
channel, yeah.
Absolutely.
It'd be cool.
Okay.
But I think it's a great idea.
I do too.
I think it's awesome.
So, our report management system, when we went to the report management system, the version that we bought was the lowest level version. So, we have the least amount of options available in our reporting system. What I would like to do, if it's affordable, again, getting a hold of salespeople and getting prices has been pretty tough, but what I would like to do is go to a different level of report management that includes evidence chain of custody. So right now, what we have to do is we have to create a paper trail for our chain of custody with our evidence, which obviously, as I told you in the executive session, is not so good. If we go to the next level in this report management, what we can do is we can create a chain of custody right in the report itself. So there will be a tab added, like an evidence tab, and then within the evidence tab, officer confiscated evidence, evidence placed in temporary storage. Evidence custodian comes in, evidence taken out of temporary storage, put in bin number B1 in evidence room. Court comes, evidence custodian removes from B1, takes to court. So right in the report, we have chain of custody. So there is no separate document anywhere. There is no other file with a piece of paper that somebody didn't fill out.
But
We're
the oth-
digitizing the paper trail.
Right, so yes, exactly. I'm gonna keep investigating that, and then eventually I will come to you guys with that. I wish I had the numbers, but I've been
So
calling
the
them all.
officers have to do that. They have to make sure they put that tab in.
Yes. Well, they don't have the tab now, what I want to
That's
do is
what I'm
create the tab.
Yeah.
Sounds like it's all paperwork, right? Like it's all
Yes,
very manual.
yes, which gets messy.
Oh, I can imagine, especially with high.
Different people
high
touching
change
different
or-
things.
Yeah.
So the last thing I wanted to talk to you guys about is the Nate canceled the membership at Jiu-Jitsu. Actually, Olga and Nate and I were talking about it the other night, and I thought I would bring it to you guys again. I don't think that you can replace the training that we were getting from Bruce with anything else. I don't think there is a replacement. There's an understanding when you come into police work that you have to do extra. In order to be good and be safe and be efficient and not hurt yourself and not hurt other people, you have to do extra. And you guys, for lack of a better word, were cutting edge by allowing us to attend jiu-jitsu and paying for it. You're the only department that I know that did it. Everybody in LaPorte County was talking about it. We were definitely the talk of the town, and we were setting a standard. Hands down, we were setting a standard. I would prefer to make a decision for myself as opposed to make a decision because another agency makes one. And in my opinion, Bruce is an excellent instructor. He runs a good class. He's safe. He was doing good by us. I would like to continue with our lessons. I'd like to continue the membership with him. I talked to Bruce today. He will provide us with the same training we're getting, whether it's 2 or 3 hours a month. And then he said he could do some private lessons. If somebody wanted private lessons, so he would give us so many hours of private lessons. And so it's basically $5,000 a year. Sounds like a lot of money, but again, to understand the feeling of putting this gear on, having a vest on, and then getting into a physical confrontation with somebody and never having it happen again. I mean, never having it happen before. Never being under that stress before, and then suddenly not being able to breathe, not knowing what it feels like to be restricted, not knowing what the stress feels like. That's when people reach for their guns. That's why you see all these young kids pulling their guns out, because they don't understand that. And Bruce was giving us that stress. Bruce was teaching us how to deal with that kind of stress in a controlled environment, where we weren't getting hurt, and we were ultimately preventing our officers from hurting themselves or somebody else. I think that we should start again. I don't care what Michigan City did. I don't care what LaPorte County did. Bruce did right by us, and I would like to start those again.
Got to have some other tool.
And without,
And that's gonna come out of your 313 also.
You'd have to.
and it makes it, but without getting political, and I don't want it to go this way, but Minneapolis,
Yes,
if those guys would have been trained,
yes.
They could have, I mean,
Yeah, you can subdue a.
Derek Chauvin fell victim, nobody can say anything about Derek, they can't say he's a racist, they can't say anything. They can say he's a terrible human being, but Derek Chauvin did what Derek Chauvin did because he got tunnel vision. He fell victim to the crowd mentality, and he was gonna hold George Floyd down and do what he wanted to do regardless of what that crowd said. He was showing them what he could do because he'd never been under stress. He didn't know how to deal with the stress around him. He didn't know how to pull himself back.
Yeah.
And the guys that he was with, unfortunately, were younger people
Young, yeah, young.
who didn't have the gumption to yank his butt off. So you had basically the perfect storm. And if we do these things with Bruce, I truly feel like I don't even know how to explain that feeling that you get when your heart rate is skyrocketing, and then on top of that, you're carrying 30 pounds of gear on your body,
Yeah.
and then you have this vest on that prevents you from expanding your lungs so you can breathe harder. It's the worst feeling in the world, and we can recreate that at that school, and then it's not a surprise.
It's important. I think it's very important.
So I can say from Heineck and people there, like, it was very well received. They loved going over there and doing that.
Why did he cancel it?
He canceled it because
There was questions about
Bruce, right?
police accreditations.
Yeah, we're not going for that.
Exactly.
We're
well,
not-
it was more universal,
Yeah.
right? Like LaPorte, Michigan, they all stopped. Like,
Yes.
because there was like this question of integrity, right? Was he lying about his accreditations? Do we want to be affiliated with that? Let's pause this. I remember him telling me, let's pause it. Let's not necessarily cancel this until
Yeah.
this investigation was gonna get completed, right? Until it was good. I only say that because I know that they really enjoyed it, and they're basically it was 100% what you're saying, like just phenomenal work. The stress was excellent.
Yes.
Yeah, that's important. I think it's really important.
So
And I didn't know it was being, like, kind of setting the standard. Like,
nobody else does.
that's fantastic.
Yeah, nobody does.
when it was announced we were doing this, there were comments, and one of them, and I don't remember, if somebody from, like, some organization about, I don't want to say police violence, but it was like, police department should have been doing this years ago, because it's a passive restraint, right?
Yeah, it is,
Absolutely.
and I think that's something that when I come to you guys about training, and we discuss training for police departments, there's a misconception with how police training should be conducted. Everybody says that police need more training. That's like a basic.
Yeah. Mantra.
What people don't understand is the training that we need should be placed in areas where they're most valuable. So the least amount of things that we do involve our weapons. I mean, very few people draw their weapons and shoot somebody. You see it in the news, and it seems like it happens all the time, but it's by far the least thing that we do. But if you go to most police departments, the most attention that you get is at the range. We gotta get to the range, we gotta get to the range, we gotta go shoot. That's wrong. You gotta be good with your weapon, you have to be accurate. You do need to shoot, but that's not where your focus should be. Your focus should be on de-escalation, because that's what you're gonna do the most of.
Absolutely.
The most I'm gonna do is try to talk somebody down, which is exactly what I can do if we're over there and we're learning stress. Because I'm not gonna go from 0 to 100. If I can go somewhere and I can say, okay, I'm gonna go 0 to 25, because I know what stress feels like. And that's what we're learning over there. So we have to place our training in areas that we use the most. Yes, it's important to know how to drive fast. Yes, it's important to know how to fire your gun. Yes, it's important to know how to use physical force, but those are the least that we do. What we can do with jiu-jitsu is we can apply it to several different areas, including de-escalation. Bruce actually teaches de-escalation through different holds. Like you can place a hold on somebody and you can talk. Calm down, I'm not gonna hurt you, relax. I'm not hurting you, I don't wanna fight, let's relax. Just breathe, take it easy, we're gonna be okay. While you're kind of holding them and preventing them from hurting themselves or you. So that's another level of de-escalation. I'm talking about.
I'm a big fan.
Effectively, the $5,000 a year could be the difference between
Absolutely.
The liability and.
I am totally on board with
For
chunk
sure.
change for something that's extremely valuable.
Right.
Absolutely. We'll have a fundraiser motion. The motion.
Yeah.
I'll make it.
Go
Okay.
ahead.
You don't make, you make.
Make motion to, I don't know, go
Fine.
back into the business with
Bruce.
the Bruce
Wine.
over at the jujitsu.
And I'll second that.
Shadow House. Is that what it's called?
Shadow House. Yeah.
Shadow House.
Yeah.
Motion made by Mr. Burnett, seconded by Mrs. Thorski to continue training for $5,000 per year at
Shadow.
Shadow House.
Shadow House. I like to think it was Fortune House. Is there any discussion?
A real quick note, yeah, with the contingency that it's just for jujitsu, right? It's just to, just.
It is
Yeah.
only,
with
there
everybody.
are no police
Okay.
tactics being taught.
Perfect.
None.
Okay.
Perfect.
Just wanted to level set.
Any other questions or discussion? Mr. Burnett?
Yes.
Mrs. Thorski?
Yes.
Mr. Pachinski?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes.
Albert votes yes, passes 5-0.
The last thing we left open was K-9.
Right, and then, stuff in here, because I need to recap this. So you're $1,000 at for your cameras. You're at $1,700 for your forensic health care.
Yes.
$753 for rekeying the whole department, $5,800 for computers, $3,071 for radar, and $5,837 for the trunk call. And then the other three unknown costs, sort of is the cage, the Axon cameras, and the RMS level change. Okay, so the costs that we know are $18,161. Obviously, that was not budgeted in this police budget this year, so we do have funds in the ARP money, and I know we had anticipated leaving some of that money to utilize for the grant, for the Okra grant, for the utilities.
Right.
Well, Mike and I did have a meeting with John Sturgill and Nathan the other day, and I did say, due to some unexpected costs that you guys were gonna find out about tonight, it may not be feasible for us to use all the money earmarked for that project.
And the
that
Okra,
grant.
and the Okra grant was for water.
Right.
And with this project going, you can't apply for an Okra grant while you've got construction going on another project.
Right.
You cannot?
You cannot.
Okay.
So if they, I mean,
John said it, absolutely.
Yeah.
We had other urgent matters
it's-
to get.
the water project is probably gonna go down. That's gonna happen because they don't want shitty water. Everything is gonna be push buttons, so they need good water. So while we're focusing on this,
I'm not saying you won't have enough money.
well, right,
I
but
just don't know because
but-
I have to, Bubba's
Right.
costs, this
Right.
cost, I don't know.
I think it's better not to have the Okra grant,
Right.
get this taken care of, finish Bubba's up, push more.
Yeah, that.
Right, and you can't have the money
Building.
Right.
and water operating for sure that grant anyway.
And on this project, the water project, we're probably also gonna roll, I've talked about it, but roll in to put Greenway and Fairview on a loop, because that's on a dead end, small line, but that would be part of the project. It looks like finally we maybe see PRP money.
Holy
He said that for a while.
Yeah, but we've got where they're working on the final agreement. So there's a light at the end of the tunnel and hopefully it's not a headlight. So, I mean, we've got money for that if we need to
Okay,
do that. So
well.
I
so-
think we need to worry about Bubba's Garage and
So with this 18,161 that we know, and the three unknowns, do you guys just want to make a motion to pay for everything out of the AOP money, what we know, and then the three unknowns as he
how
moves
much,
them?
what's the balance of the year?
400 and, off the top of my head,
400,000
it's more than that, but
Well-
40 maybe-ish. I can't quite remember.
for 400,000.
I don't have a lot left to pay out of Bubba's yet, but.
Okay.
I'm certain I can get everything done for 400,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your motion.
I've gone shopping with you we go to get a washer, we go get a stove to get one washer.
That's good. I was like, I'll second it. Let's go.
And I know this guy too well to know that he can do it.
But I mean, I don't know if you just want to go ahead and make that.
What about marking the truck?
That'd be a few $100, yeah, I need to do that.
Do you want to do
With the
that?
K-9, you mean?
No,
Oh.
the truck's not marked. I would like, I want all the vehicles to be marked except
He wants to be
mine.
marked.
Oh, I see, yeah, you said it was in K-9 marked, but yeah, I didn't know, it doesn't even have Westville on it? Police?
Yeah.
The truck is, well, initially, 2 years ago, the truck was mine and I left it unmarked.
Ah.
Is
Nate
this
bought another
including the
vehicle and didn't
K9?
mark his, so now we have 2 unmarked.
No, so I'm,
I would rather have the.
What's the
truck
other
marked.
unmarked? I know the trucks
The
are.
Durango and the truck. There's one Durango and one truck. that are
Joe's
marked.
pick up that Ford.
Got it, okay.
So I'd like to mark the truck. That'd be, I haven't called
You-
Rob yet.
Yeah,
we
that's
can
got
put that into that.
So,
That's 18,000 without the cost of the canine.
And
And then the 3 unknowns.
do we, yeah, K-9, I think we ought to find out more about. Think-
Yeah. Table that.
I don't know
Yeah.
if there's gonna be a lot of value for us as a small, I mean, I know you said you can put it to work, but is it really as a small town? Is the K-9 something we really need?
I don't think so.
I don't either.
But
So,
it's
I mean,
I didn't think
it's
so from the
already been
beginning, but I
invested
went
in.
I don't understand it. I don't.
Here's my concern, and I don't want to spend $15,000 because of a $450 donation, but what do we tell the guy that donated the $450 for the thing if we did away with it?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. it's
But I
just
mean,
not-
and I'm
No,
not
you're
saying,
That's a valid point, that's a
Yeah.
very
but I'm
valid
not
We-
point.
saying,
we can't
but I'm not saying,
justify-
we're gonna do a
That was a
K-9
nice-
program.
nice
you know, get
gesture
somebody
on
else.
his
Program was
Right.
scrubbed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll give you
for
your money back.
financial reasons and because we're a small department.
I mean, you guys weren't really truly, you weren't informed completely.
No.
You really
We were told that
It
we
didn't
had
make
no
any
cost.
sense.
He wanted to train the dog.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Mike, if you don't want any cost, Miklos can put that dog in a crate in the backseat
But
of the,
what
in
does
the
it
backseat
gonna
of the.
do?
I don't see,
car,
a
but-
I don't see a purpose in that.
I don't
But-
see,
that's not, you know me, and you know I'm not gonna do anything any other way except the right way.
And I appreciate that.
Otherwise, we
I
get-
feel like if we're gonna do it, I think that's why we should table it, because I feel
I
like,
don't think it's a valuable thing for our little town.
well,
We
I
could be a
think,
liability.
like Jared said, though, he could put it to good use, he could
I
do some,
can't.
he will do something with the
I
program.
don't think it's
You can
going to
see-
justify the price of, I can't.
I mean, the price to you guys, it's gonna be $8,000.
It's,
For sure, that's for sure.
Yes,
They
it's-
vote no.
I
But
do
it,
too.
it's a one-time,
no.
right?
It's
So
not-
I mean,
No, it's not one time.
what kind of, well, I mean, to outfit the car, we're gonna do
You're
that
gonna put
once.
you're gonna put $8,000 into a 2017 Ford Explorer.
That I don't see.
That's
Yeah.
not where we're going, right?
So that car is gonna go bad,
Yeah,
and then we're gonna buy another, and the next pool car is gonna go down, then that vehicle is gonna have to get outfitted.
It's not.
Any
a
of that
revenue
equipment can't be-
Model
generator.
years are gonna change.
It's not
right,
a
right, right, right,
generator
but
of
the
revenue.
equipment can't be transferred over, I mean, okay.
It's not a revenue generator. We're too small of I mean, a city the town to have something of that.
How many years
Let the port take.
have never had
Yeah,
K-9?
I mean, I don't find it.
I mean,
And we still have K-9.
I mean, not that I don't love dogs. Fenfer was that's a nice idea, but, and $450, you know, we cannot, I think it's just.
Did you have a printer and scanner in that cost, Darren?
yes.
Because the radar was $3,000.
Yeah, I think the printer and scanner is included in,
Computers?
the computers.
Okay, so that's covered somewhere in
Yeah,
there.
it's in there somewhere.
Okay.
The only thing not covered is the.
Chargers, right? Isn't it the multi-port
printer
charger?
transport and the labor for installing the printer and the scanner through Bruce. He needed the model and everything yet, and I just got Brainstorm's quote, so.
Lighting is good on the vehicle.
Yeah, they did, the lighting's fine, and Bartronics did a fantastic job with what they were told to do, but not everything was done.
And you
So
didn't-
a roundabout number that you may need for this ARP money, this 18,000 plus the 3 unknowns,
30,000.
30,000?
I'll
That's
make,
without the canine cost, so, and
And I don't want to influence you guys either way. Olga, I am totally on board. I can put the dog to use. I don't want you guys to kid me one bit. I can put the dog to work. My problem that I wanted to, and I didn't want to influence you either way. You were not given all of the information, and I want you guys to be able to make a decision with all of the information. We are the only person responsible for anything Miklos does, period.
Yeah, I don't
End of
see
story.
that.
what happens if we, okay, because the officer was supposed to be working part-time for us. He was gonna have the dog with us when he worked dog with him when he worked part-time.
And you guys, we're not told, the dog doesn't come into play until June.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Like, that's why I was.
Yeah, I thought he
very
was up and
curious.
running.
No,
I
you
thought-
bought equipment, you spent $500, raised money and had a fundraiser for a dog that's not coming until June. The dog doesn't go through certifications until June.
But, so what was up with the dog showing up at our,
That was a fundraiser.
like, got it, okay.
He actually hasn't worked it,
Right.
Shipped.
and we spent the $450 donation then.
You spent
Or equipment on the
$450 on a dog that we have not used yet.
I guess you have to think about sustainability.
Yeah.
So you have a budget, can you sustain this when the next vehicle goes down and you have to re-outfit that car for that dog? You have to think about that.
And what is its real value to a small town like us?
Well,
It's a hard decision, but you have.
and Deb, I don't want to influence you either way. Everything that's gonna happen in Michigan City will happen here on a smaller scale. On a much, much smaller scale. The very first serious call that I got sent to when I took over in 2014 was an attempted murder. So whatever happens someplace else will happen here, only much, much, much smaller.
Once every 5 years.
Well, it's just
Then we
neat
can call
to set up
county
everything.
So then, yeah, I mean,
Canine
and then what do you
meters.
gotta do? Come close, come over there, bring the dog, I mean, it just doesn't, you can't keep them on the shift, I mean, I don't understand it. I just don't.
It's a huge commitment. And
I don't
you will
see us
pay-
having it.
Because we are the only law enforcement agency that is covering him, we will pay him an hourly rate every time that he trains to keep the dog up to standard.
Yeah,
So
that is just the money.
And this wasn't gonna cost
canine
us.
officers train
Yeah, that is just the money.
once a month, so we're gonna pay him to train once a month.
Yeah, that's.
I think we need to bring it to a motion.
What,
Yeah.
It's a
well,
lot.
let's
Only ARP money.
take care of the ARP money.
Forever.
I'll make a motion that we allot 30,000 ARP money for the police department and approve what we've already okayed tonight, the cameras and all that, and there's money left over, and then we'll approve that for those items as it comes up.
Effectively, everything but the canine. Is that right?
Yeah, pretty
Everything
much.
but-
Yeah, is that everything you got? Okay.
The sink, the
30,000 for
floor.
everything
Yeah,
he said.
repairs,
Everything that
everything.
he brought up,
Yeah.
30 grand. Okay.
Yeah,
Excluding the canine.
Excluding.
okay. I made that motion.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Albert, seconded by Mr. Burnett to allocate 30,000 of the ARP money for police purchases, for repairs, equipment and such, except canine for the 30 grand. That's the motion. Any discussion? Mr. Burnett?
Yes.
Mr. Thorsky?
Yes.
Mr. Bashinsky?
Produce one.
Oh, that's,
Yes, sorry.
sorry, Kelly.
Yes,
And Albert votes yes, passes 5-0. Okay.
did we talk about that McMahon engineer?
Well,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I need to ask you, did you guys even go over the new police hires? Did you approve that already? Did I miss that?
Oh,
Yeah.
We
and
did
we
not
hired them
go,
as
Oh.
laterals.
we did not go over
Yes.
that.
Oh.
I mean, we
Oh,
went
the-
over it, but we didn't.
We did, do you want to?
Yeah, make a motion to hire the two new
Police hire.
Steve.
officers as laterals.
I'll second.
Okay.
As laterals.
Motion made by Mr. Burnett, second by Ms. Thorsky
Corey and.
to make the two new police hires a lateral movement rather than,
Corey's already.
we did.
Oh, Corey's on there?
Yeah, Corey already got his,
Oh, so Steve or.
Steve and Matt.
Steve and
I
Matt.
meant,
Yes,
right.
ma'am.
Any discussion or questions? Mr. Burnett?
Yes.
Ms. Thorsky? Mr. Bashinsky?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes.
Albert votes yes, passes 5-0. Okay, now we got the transfer. The transfer, we're moving 4,000 from general fund, from legal services to the health insurance fund, okay? Resolution 2023-2, transfer funds. As I said, it's the transfer 4,000 from legal services general fund to appropriation with the number health insurance general fund. I'll make a motion that we adopt resolution 2023.
Second.
Motion made by Albert, seconded by Ms. Kelly to adopt resolution 2023-2. Is there any discussion? Mr. Burnett?
Yes.
Mr. Thorsky? Mr. Bashinsky?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes.
Albert votes yes, passes 5-0. And then we got an agreement from McMahon. It's their annual agreement for work, engineering work and everything, and we've got this water project and the sewer project still going. And we use them quite a bit for other questions and stuff. So, we have the agreement for professional services. It's a fee schedule, an hourly rate, like it always has been. And it's just for the year. Reimbursable amounts, it's the standard boilerplate contract we get from them every year. So I'll make a motion that we enter in the agreement for professional services with McMahon Engineers and Architects.
I'll second it.
Okay, you want to take a look at this before we do anything, or you have any questions, or?
No, that's with Nate, right? That's what he, Nate.
He is MCO.
He's MCO.
McMahon is the engineers for the water project, the sewer project, that they do the engineering work and the paperwork for draws and all that stuff. That's who that is.
Okay.
John Sturgill, I don't know if
I
you
think
know.
No.
So motion made and seconded. Any other discussion or questions? Mr. Burnett?
Yes.
Mrs. Pothorsky? Mr. Brzezinski?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes.
Albert votes yes, passes 5-0. I think that's it.
What did we determine on the Canaan? I'm sorry, I missed that.
You
It's
guys
on,
want to table it and think on it?
it's tabled and
Okay.
think,
All right.
think on it.
Jim and I could vote tonight. We know exactly where we're at with this.
I'm done talking.
No, come on.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second.
Motion made by Albert, second.
Aye.
To adjourn at 6:42. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.